double overtime. Talk about what kind of went right in those 2 overtime periods to kind of make it a game.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of hope, especially like coming out of halftime. We knew that we had to be more aggressive and, change some things up in defense, not necessarily rely on our offense because, it was a bit poor in the first half, but we just wanted to do it for each other and we came out knowing that. And then I think as shots started falling, late in the third quarter, that's when we knew, it's time to put the foot on the pedal and give it all we've got. So that's what we tried doing.
And turnovers were a little bit of an issue in the first quarter, 9 in the first quarter alone, and then 2 after that. What was kind of the adjustment to kind of cut down on those turnovers?
Yeah, I think we just, we'd rather have aggressive turnovers. When we have turnovers just being rattled by, I guess, like a team's bark, not necessarily bite, we like to, we'd rather not play through that, and we like to clear things up, at halftime knowing that. But I think it was just the aggressiveness that we were playing with, not being scared, by the other team's defense, and that's pretty much.
Coach Neubauer has preached toughness to you guys after these 3 SEC games. How do you translate that onto the court?
I think it's more a mental thing. We need to, lift each other up and just be tough, from the first person out to the 10th person, sitting on the bench. But I think it's, mental. We just got to get through it, fight through it, do everything we can, and, play what we train every day out on the court.
You want to talk about that? No, sorry. You want to talk about that first half a little bit more against Ole Miss? It just seemed like the offense just didn't really have a lot of flow to it. The turnovers, may have had something to do with it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think we've been coming out quite slow. I don't know what it is, but, it's a process. We're trying to get, going from the very beginning now because we don't want to play catch-up basketball. But, I think it's just our slow starts at the moment, and we're trying to work on that as best we can.
How are you guys working on that in practice?
I mean, just communication, trying to be there for one another, coming into the game more energized, knowing that, it's obviously harder coming back, fighting our way back into the game, and we'd rather be there from the beginning, if not, get a good lead and try to settle through that and play through the game with that.
Now moving ahead to Kentucky, what do you guys need to do to get that first SEC win?
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's a great team, but we need to focus on rebounding, especially execution as well, and I think, defense overall, but rebounds are huge, and we're going to try to work on that.
And what would be the major takeaway from the Ole Miss game that you can use when playing Kentucky?
I think the slow starts again. We need to come out with a bang. As I said, they're a great team. If they get, 10, 15 points ahead, we can't hang our heads. We just need to keep going, keep fighting till the end.
How excited were you to get, or how anxious were you to get back on the court after the overtime loss?
After the overtime loss?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I think all of us just wanted to play the next day. Probably like at nighttime as soon as we got back to Gainesville. But no, we feel like we have some things to prove, and people haven't seen that yet. But I mean, we're anxious, we're excited, we're ready to go.
So even with the double overtime loss, you would say the team's intensity is even at a higher level than it was before the game?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, losing, by such a small margin, and knowing, we had it just at the slightest moment, and having that in the back of our minds, I think it just, motivates us even more.
The starters have been playing massive minutes, 30, 35 minutes in a game. Does that affect, do you think, you guys at all, or would you like to be on the court, for that amount of time or maybe even more?
I think we try not to think specifically about that. We just try to, individually do what we can, play our roles, and just help our team out as much as possible whenever is needed.
And one last question.
Yeah.
I thought I saw, maybe tweak the ankle a little bit, but you stayed in the game.
Yeah.
How are you feeling after that?
I'm feeling good, yeah. Luckily, unluckily, I don't know how to put it, but it was my knee. But it was just a little bang up, and I think, just at the end of the game, I was just a bit banged up, but that's it. It's all good now, and we're, looking forward to the next game.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for